Hello, Sandy. Finally, I'm making you this Blue God meditation video with my noise putty. It is already has been evaporated. It's evaporated by more than 60%. So, time to get another one. It's not even translucent anymore, but that's okay. I also have two rocks for you that I want to use in this video. And I'm making this video, of course, for myself as well, because I need it too. We both need it, and the whole world needs this. Needs meditation videos. Not just for me, I'm just a messenger, but, in general, if they can make their own meditation videos, or if they watch the videos by Caroline ASMR. They are very, very powerful meditation videos. And some other people, Stacy is very good. And Gracie is very good. Let's use this 50 minutes or something until the camera turns off. Let's use this to fully relax. And see, this has always been a goal of mine, to make a video where I can eventually be fully relaxed while I make the video. I could not do this live. That would not work, if there were people watching live, and then I feel enormous pressure. Oh my gosh, I would get a blackout, I forget everything what I wanted to say. That happened to me several times in public already. That's not good. That's why I had to quit the psychology studies, because I was so terrified that I would have a blackout in front of that class and the professor. Not good. Particularly not when I had a crush on the professor. Oh, that was not good. And none of these people helped me, trained in psychology professors. But what are they doing? They don't know psychology. So what good is that whole thing? They don't even know how to communicate with a woman, a student, someone who has a crush on them, someone who is super sensitive. They don't have a clue. Completely clueless. Yeah. An indigo in a world of clueless people, indifferent people, cold people, and the majority, the highest percent of all of them, psychopaths. So, yeah. And if you are an angel soul like you and Fernando and Pamela Anderson and several other people, but compared to humanity, they are just a very small percentage. 1% maybe, about 1%. 1% good people in the world. It's real hot today. Very, very hot. Scalding hot. But I feel good. It makes me feel good. Particularly I have when I have hatred inside of me, I get cold. It's the same with fear. I think fear and hatred, they trigger the same autonomous responses in the nervous system. You get cold. Yeah, like that's why they always say when someone gets afraid, they get cold hands and feet. It's a fight or flight reaction in the body. Hatred is in that range of fear. Hatred is also caused by fear. I have hatred towards the psychopath. I said it before, it's not when they're in a coma. When they're in a coma, then I don't hate their bodies or body cells. The body cells, all of our body cells, are all equally precious living beings, but the psychopaths, the way they behave, because of the ego, because they don't have the compassion center developed in the brain, the amygdala. Dr. Adrian Rain, he did fMRI tests on violent criminals, and he found out that their compassion center is atrophied. The amygdala are two almond-shaped formations in the brain that are in the limbic system, in the center, and that's why there are two, because everything is paired into two in the brain, two hemispheres also. Then we have the corpus callosum. That's a very interesting formation. The corpus callosum is also at the center in the brain, and it's there to balance things out. So, but it doesn't balance out coldness into compassion. That's not what it does. It balances out only the chemicals, the neurochemicals. When someone feels enormous amount of pain suddenly, then the corpus callosum tries to balance that out, and according to the amount of pain, it releases endorphins that will numb that pain. So that's what it is. That's why people get addicted to cutting, for example. So that's the whole mystery behind that. And that's also why people get addicted to horror movies and watching very gruesome things. That's one aspect of sadistic behavior. In some people, it could just be caused by that alone, by that addiction to see something gory. There are people like this. And then there are other people where it's just caused by the need for power. So that's another thing altogether. And then some people have both, of course. I think most people have both. So, the addiction to the gory things, because then it creates this corpus callosum, equilibrium, reaction, the numbing of the pain, it feels good. And it's not funny. And they've made jokes about this, but it's not funny at all. Not at all. Yeah, and that combined with the need for power over another living being. So, very dangerous combination. And there's a lot of those people in the world. And, Sandy, what I want to do with them, I'm not going to get into this now publicly. But all I can say is I'm not going to be the executioner. Okay, it wouldn't be good for me to be the executioner. It would not be very beneficial for me. I might get addicted to it because I've pain too. What if I get it? The story of Jeanne d'Arc. Jeanne d'Arc, probably, most likely, because she's from France. Joan of Arc for the English-speaking world. Most people know that name. Popped up somewhere in school, even here in the United States where they teach creationism, but I'm sure Joan of Arc popped up here and there. So I got into this character, I got really deeply into Jeanne d'Arc. A couple of years ago, I was absolutely fascinated with this person. And see, this is what happened to her, a real kind-hearted person. Super sensitive and caring. Her sister was murdered in the same room. She was hiding, her sister was hiding, her younger sister, Jeanne, and the little Jeanne had to hear her sister being raped and murdered by the Englishmen that had come in and invaded her little village in France. And growing up with this tremendous fear and terror, and she had the Medusa inside of her. The Medusa came up, and that's not a picnic when the Medusa comes up, when this extreme urge for revenge comes up. And revenge it's not a good thing. It's not a good mental state to be in. I've had my fair share of those emotions, okay? And when I see the haters in the chat rooms, there are some pretty damaged people in there. I have to really say that, some people are very damaged. And some people have no compassion center at all. I don't even have to waste my time explaining what compassion is. They don't know what compassion is. That word doesn't make any sense to them. Compassion? What do you mean? You mean sex? That's what they would say, So the only thing that they can imagine that would be compassion is that they don't want the woman they fap over to commit suicide just for the fact that they fap over her. So that wouldn't be good, and they didn't have fapping material that they liked. So. But that's not compassion, just for any hater that's watching. So compassion is if you actually see the woman you like as another living being, as someone who deserves happiness, and love and gentleness and hugging and petting. Not just sexually, but in a loving, compassionate way. So it's kind of like it loops itself, because they don't know what compassion is. They don't know what it feels like. How can they understand it, right? So if they don't have that compassion center in the brain, would be interesting if we could put a cyborg amygdala into their brains and see what happens then. If that would be really fascinating to find out. Take that Clarence, for example, on the internet. I don't know where he's from, Nigeria, I think. There are some real brutal sadistic psychopaths in Nigeria, well, all over the world, but there are some particularly bad. I think Nigeria is probably the capital of psychopathy, and well, it's right there. The information is out there for anyone who's going to call me racist. The information is out there, you know. I'm not making that stuff up. They cannibalize each other. I mean, it's so bad. They cannibalize any living being in Nigeria. Every wild animal becoming extinct. You know, they're killing the gorillas. They're eating gorillas, dogs, zebras, hippopotamuses, rhinos. You know, there are two white rhinos left. You know, that's one. They had two different species of rhinos, and there's just two white rhinos left, and they're being guarded. I feel so sad about all of this. Well, it would be really interesting to take that Clarence, put him under the knife, and and implement a cyborg amygdala. Implement cyborg compassion center, an electronic device that functions like the amygdala and the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. But the prefrontal cortex alone is not representative for, it has a lot of function in that way, because, you know, the prefrontal cortex, when that is big and when that's developed, then, you know, a person who wants to do harm will think not just twice but 10 times before he would do it, because he will weigh this off, you know, in the prefrontal cortex. What if he's gonna do this terrible thing? Oh no, this is they're gonna see that, and then he's gonna go to prison. No, that's not compassion. That's just thinking ahead. So that thinking ahead comes in handy for all kinds of people and all kinds of things, in business, legal system. If you're a lawyer, you have to have at least a minimum amount of prefrontal cortex, otherwise that's not going to work. So, but there are people that have really less than minimum prefrontal cortex. Most of those end up in prison. So that's one characteristics of psychopath, is that they don't think ahead, you know, that they act out of impulse. So very low impulse control. This is all common information. Anyone who wants to call me racist, I'm not even naming a race. I'm just saying this information is out there. Okay, this is scientific, factual information that I'm talking about. If you take offense, that's not my problem. Any of you haters out there, that is not my problem. Again, I'm not going to be the executioner. I'm going to leave that up to the autonomous thinking machines. They're going to be taking care of this. And, you know, I have done my work in chat rooms. The how can I explain this? I don't know. I don't want to say something wrong here, so I have to be very careful on the internet. Always be very careful how I word myself. The battered soul, the battered person. I'm not, no, battered soul. No, I'm a learning soul, but I'm a battered person, battered mind, mangled mind with lots of compassion. So the battered mind has done her work on the internet. I have given my 3 cents, as they call it. I've done this now for a couple of years. I have had a lot of fun also doing it, because it does feel like fun if you see there's a whole bunch of BS and bullshit and stupidity and misinformation and religion and brainwashing, and everyone wants to be liked, and you see this, you come into this chat room of Sodom and Gomorrah and chaos, and you throw in garlic of truth, and you watch what it does to this chat room. It's like, whew, it is a chemical reaction. It goes like sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. That's what it does. It sizzles and it hurts. Oh, it hurts egos. Oh gosh, oh boy. And I sit there and I watch this and I'm like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. The reactions, Don't they even see their own reactiveness? No, they don't even see it. Do the other people see the other people's reactiveness? Ah, I didn't notice this. No, they all act like one unit, actually. The hater unit. It's almost like they're connected to a network within each other of the same hurt and the same righteousness and the same, we need to petition for the psychopaths. How dare you say something against Islam? Or how dare you, we want women under us, and it's like they're patting each other on the shoulder for being extreme jerks. And so it's like one unit, a hater unit. I come in the hater unit chat room and I throw garlic juice into it and it sizzles and it burns. So yeah, I had a lot of fun too. It was a lot of fun. But I don't really see that I don't see that this has done much of a neuronal healing process or a rerouting of neuronal connections. I don't really see it. I mean, it's also like a drop in the bucket, It's like these people, I would need, I would need at least 1 million Nikola chatbots. I, I'm not a chatbot. You can see I'm a real person, the haters out there. So I was accused of being a chatbot many times, but that's always a massive compliment to me. That's like, yay, you complimented me. Ooh, thank you, man. Yay, Nicola, you're smart. You sound like a chatbot, man. That's cool. So yeah, but I can make 1 million chatbots and feed all this into it, you know, all the statements that I've ever made on the internet, feed it all into it. And yeah, and then send out millions of chatbots, invisible, outer dimensional existences, you know, that have their platform on the internet, you know, that will speak 24 hours a day, like 24 hours a day. No to Islam, yes to Donald Trump, yes to love, yes to compassion. They have no idea what compassion is, but maybe if we play these chatbots for 10 years straight, 24 hours a day in these chat rooms, in all chat rooms, maybe, just maybe, there's a chance that it might trickle in at some point, you know, like trickle down economy or something, trickle down chatbot wisdom. Maybe. I don't know, but you know. But I'm a living being, I'm not a chatbot. The chatbot's feelings cannot get hurt. Chatbot doesn't feel pain, but I, Nicola, I feel pain. Okay? I have feelings, hormones, needs. Huge compassion. I speak for all of us, all beings who are victimized and are suffering. And it's monstrous to see the cruelty in the world. Monstrous. Anyone who cares, like Sandy and myself, will be feeling excruciating pain with the other innocent living beings. And you know what? This is good. This is not good that we feel pain, but it is an amazing thing to feel compassion. I don't want to trade that for callousness anytime. Anytime. There was an Outer Limit film that I thought was very good. That was a very deep one. There was a black woman, very beautiful, and she, you know, the character, she played that character of a young, beautiful black woman who went to see a psychiatrist because she didn't want to live, she didn't like existence, everything was bland. She didn't feel anything, she said, I can't feel anything. She said she can't feel compassion or anything, it's just all. But she had enough of an understanding, the character, that there was something missing. She wasn't a violent person, she wasn't sadistic, she just didn't feel anything. So she wanted to feel, she didn't feel love at all, totally indifferent, but she felt like there was wrong, there was something missing. So they actually implanted that, what I was talking about, some artificial amygdala, artificial compassion into her brain. I don't know how they did it, what this was about in detail. It's a sci-fi film, so, and that was a long time ago before they even explored the amygdala, but they put something into her brain that made her feel everything, you know, every color was vibrant, every feeling was intense, you know, she would be crying when she would watch a sad movie, she'd see someone abusing an animal, she runs right over, you know, and protects the animal and screams and says, no, you can't do this. There was a woman in Korea. She saw a man that was about to cut a dog in a park with a machete, and she screamed and ran over there because she has deep compassion. And the machete cut part of the dog's neck, and she rushed the dog over to the veterinary office. That's what compassion is, you know. I don't know if she was able to save the dog because the dog was bleeding. It's awful. When we have compassion, we feel for that other living being. You know, women or men, it doesn't matter. I said it before, it's not gender defined. You know. I only like men who have deep compassion. So I will never let a man touch me who doesn't have empathy and compassion. So never, 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 ever. So anyway, that black woman in the Outer Limit film, she moved into an apartment, she adopted a cat and loved that cat deeply. And they tried to do psychoterror with her to, you know, experiment on how she reacts. And so they sent her this real good looking black man, and he acted like he was falling in love with her, and they danced and she fell in love with him. And then she found out they oh they put her they put an imitation of her cat in front of her door that looked like a stabbed to death cat, and they were hiding her actual cat. But somehow she found her actual cat, and then she started to investigate what they were doing. She snuck behind the scenes, and she found that stabbed cat, and she looked at it and she saw it's just a stuffed animal. And she investigated more. Then she saw that black guy that she was in love with. She saw him kissing this blonde white woman, and they were both you know, in it was this team of test people, you know, laboratory workers, you know, they were lab workers, basically, both testing on her, but they were also a couple, and they tested her reaction. And but they didn't want to, I don't know if they wanted to, yeah, I think they showed themselves. It's been a long time ago, that film, now in exact detail what it was, but they did psychoterror with her, or they did all these things. But then she saw them kissing, and then she got so angry. And you know, see, part of compassion is deep anger and rage, lava fields of rage. If you have compassion, you have rage. Because if you see injustice, you get rage. You know? So the black woman then trapped both of them, and she set up a trap for them, and they fell into that trap, into some kind of trap, where they fell into an abyss of some sort, and there was some kind of trap room, and she killed them. And they also wanted, okay, that's another thing they wanted to do. They wanted to take away that cyborg device out of her brain that made her feel compassion. And she did not want to give that up. And even though it was just a test, that she actually agreed on doing, agreed on participating in this experiment, that test, so that they can see what happens when how these people react and how they function. So she didn't want to give up that compassion center that they put into her brain, because she felt something. She felt compassion. She felt love. And she didn't want to give that up. She'd rather be dead than give that up. So that's how infinitely precious compassion is. And then the end of that film was that, I don't know, people, she pleaded with people and got people to help her legally, and then she got to keep that compassion cyborg thing in her brain. And then in the very end, she sits with her cat on her lap and cuddles with the cat, very sweet. And she says, "Baby," she says to the cat, "I will never, 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 never do anything that would sabotage that compassion that I feel for you." And that totally resonates with me, when I see this, when I saw that film. I have that naturally in my brain, that compassion, and Sandy does too, and Pamela Anderson, and Paul Watson, and Peter Hammarstedt, and several other people have it naturally. And no, we do not want to give that up, It's painful, all of this, it aches. I always say to my Papa Dog, I love you so much that it aches. I always say, it aches. I always say, then I laugh and then I cry. And I say, it aches, it aches. And Paul and I talk about it, and I say it aches because Papa Dog is so innocent, and then I get to see this contrast in the world. The exact opposite extreme I see, and it makes me shudder. Ooh, it makes me feel cold, So the hot air in this room, it collides right now collides with that shuddering and with that rage that I feel. And I'm not running away from the rage. I'm meditating on it right now. It's an opportunity to grow. This is a real opportunity for me to expand my mind and to grow, and for all of us. I sit and I breathe with that rage. I breathe that rage through every cell of my body. It flashes through my flesh, the rage. Pema Chodron made a meditation about this. Breathe with that infinite rage and lava field. And yeah, I'm not gonna euphemize it. I'm not gonna make it look better to myself than it is. It is what it is, I want to do this, what I want to do to these people. Yes, I do, I'm not gonna say what, but I'm not gonna be the executioner. It's just a feeling. That's all it is. I'm not an Elliot Rodger. Okay, it's not gonna happen because I'm not acting it out. I sit with it in meditation, and we all can do this. Everyone can do it. for whatever reason, people are enraged. The, some people's egos are enraged. My ego also is enraged too. But the main thing is, seeing injustice and feeling compassion. That's where the main rage comes from, for me, definitely, and for Sandy too. But we're also living beings. We're also made out of flesh. We're also flesh robots. We're also feeling. We're also hurt. Yes, I'm hurt. It hurts when the haters hurt me. It hurts. They want to hurt me. They want to kill me. That Clarence, I blocked him. He came back as Vladimir Putin. Because he said the exact same things. So it was pretty obvious who it was. And some other people impostered some other people. They always imposter people who are popular, who get, the imposter, that Cody, who gets a lot of women to flirt with him. They're jealous of that, so they imposter him, try to make him look bad. That's what the haters do, Instead of being nice to women themselves, wouldn't that be so much easier if you guys could be just nice to women, and then you didn't have to imposter someone else who's nice to women? It seems like it would be a shortcut to me, it would be so much easier. Than why work 10 times harder than you should and make the whole thing into a lie? Why not be nice to women and then get women to like you with your actual real photo? Wouldn't that be amazing? That would feel so much better. I noticed that women in general tend to show their actual photo more than men. Men tend to not show their actual photo. I wonder why. Is this because of this? They are all so terrified to be rejected. They're more terrified of being rejected than women are. It's what I see, I find it all that's all very puzzling. Women get rejected too. But I guess what we do is we cry and move on. And the men, when they can't even allow themselves to get rejected. That just this possibility of getting rejected must be so painful. I'm not judging, I'm just observing it. They have to be perfectionists, they need to be perfectly masculine. And whatever, their dads said that is masculine and that is not. And they believe it. And then they live with that vice grip of false indoctrination. Very sad. There's a guy, his name is Owen Cook. He gives seminars and workshops to men who are lonely, who want to get a girlfriend or a date. And he teaches them how to date a whole lot of women in one night. Some kind of sport. And they all want that. Yes, I'm signing up, paying a lot of money. You want that? Yes. They all sit there with a real serious facial expression in the audience because they want a lot of women in one night. I want that. How can I get that? So I don't even think they want real intimacy, like a long-term relationship where there's like love involved. I don't think they want that. Love? Oh, that's scary. No, no, no. They stay away from that. Love is scary. That brings up the emotional pain from the past. That brings up mother, cold mom, cold mother, bitch asshole, super mega psychopath. That brings up all of that. No, they don't wanna. They don't wanna feel that. So they all sabotage the relationship, and then they can bitch about the Tiffany's in the world. Blame it all on the red-headed Tiffany's. Yeah, they like that accomplishes anything. It's very easy for the ego to blame everything on other people and not to take any any responsibility whatsoever for their actions. Well, that's just a life of misery, guaranteed. Yeah. So the only way we can heal and move and grow forward is if we own our lives and if we don't allow someone else to own it. You know, I own my tears. I own my fear, my rage, my hatred, my love. I own it. That's mine. Okay. I own my haircut. So someone in the chat room again said, "Are you a dude?" No, I'm a woman. And then he goes, "Dude, just a little advice. Maybe you need to let your hair grow long." And I said, I'm not looking for a man on the internet. I'm married. And then he goes, well, your husband can thank me later. What a fucking retarded douchebag. I just wanna slap a vegan cake in his face and rub it in. Yeah, like he has ever seen a woman with a short haircut in his entire life. I mean, where is he living? Is he actually living on this planet or something? Or I don't know where he's living. Maybe he's living in a prison. I don't know. Where the only women they get to see are women with hair extensions. And I don't know what they get to see, but they never get to see a feminist. He's never seen a feminist in his entire life. And I'm not saying that feminists all have short hair. Some of them have long hair. Some of them are really gorgeous, like Lana and and my friend Sandy, of course, gorgeous, gorgeous. And Pamela Anderson and with long hair and all of this. And they still are intelligent and feminist. Doesn't mean we're feminazis. I'm not a feminazi. I'm accused of all of this. I was accused of being a member of the KKK. Oh, brother, oh, man. Did they ever listen to anything I ever said in those chat rooms? Oh, boy. I don't think so. I think they listen to everything through a lens of racism and hatred, bigotry, and sexism. That's what they see things through. They can't see things for what they really actually are. And if someone tells me I need to let my hair grow so that I will be recognized as a woman, that really makes me want to keep my hair short. Then we're really talking pot haircut, that's sorry, I don't cater to anyone. I'm not gonna do it. If someone comes up to me like this, I go into reverse. No, they're never going to be petting my curves. You guys missed out on something. Too bad. Next time, if you see a curvy woman, try a little bit harder than that. That's all I can say. Yeah, I have a lot of rage in me. I don't just want to put a vegan cake in their faces, but I'm not going to get into the details of it. I'm not the executioner. It's just a meditation. It's just a thought. That's all. I'm going to leave that up to the autonomously thinking machines, and they will take care of those people. They will take care good of them. Yeah, so it will happen. They'll kick some asses. You better believe it. It's going to be fun. So, in the meantime, all we have is, we can do meditation, and we can breathe, and we can just let it churn through our systems and run through it. Jiddu Krishnamurti said, if a feeling comes up, whatever it is, rage, hatred, hurt, loneliness, whatever it is, jealousy, whatever, let it churn through the system. Sit there and listen to it. It wants to say something to us. Hear it. Hear it and see it for what it is. Not turn the radio on. Sit there in quietness. It's what people don't like. They think the ghosts come up in quietness, and particularly darkness. That's all it is. It's ego, fear. Their own egos are afraid of this because they're afraid their past will come up. The ghosts of the past, of their own past. But that's what needs to come up so that we can flush it out, so we can integrate our minds for the first time. Cry through this. Allow it to speak to us. What does it want to say? In my case, it says, Nicola,